Hello. Today I'm going to talk to you about sentence structure. I mean by that the pattern that almost every sentence in English follows, or the structure that a reader expects a sentence to make. When you give a reader what he or she expects, you give yourself a much better chance of successfully communicating with that reader. The expectations of readers of English include a particular series of parts in a particular order, which make a successful sentence. And in this lecture, my plan is to show you the order and the function of these parts. And to begin with, we can express the usual pattern of English sentences with this diagram, SVIODO, which stands for subject, verb, indirect object, if there is one, and direct object, if there is one. Not all sentences have an indirect object or a direct object, but when those elements appear, they appear in that order after the subject and the verb. Now, if these terms I've been saying to you don't seem to make much sense, don't worry. I'll be explaining them in just about a minute. My point is that knowing the sentence pattern can help you write sentences that your reader can understand more easily by following the pattern that your reader expects to see. Study this pattern and see how it applies to the sentences you read, and to help, I'll give you an example to show how the elements of a sentence work together. Every sentence tells the reader a story. This sentence not only contains all the elements of a successful sentence in the order that a reader would expect to see, but it also makes a true statement. When you read a sentence, you're reading a little story about something that happens, about something that makes that thing happen, and sometimes about the things that happens to. The part of the sentence that expresses the real heart of the story, the thing that happens, is called the verb. The verb of a sentence is the word that expresses what is happening in the sentence. Sometimes it also expresses a state of being. Nothing is particularly happening, but something is in a particular way, and the verb will tell the reader that information also. Now, of course, for something to happen or something to be, there has to be something making that happen or doing that being. The part of the sentence that expresses that cause or that character is the subject. Again, we can think of the subject as the hero of the story the sentence is telling, the cause of the sentence's event. For that reason, every sentence needs both a subject and a verb to exist. Without both subject and verb, what you have is not a sentence. In the same way that without something happening and without something making that thing happen, you don't exactly have a story. Some sentences, though, include extra information. The direct object is the word that names what an event happened to. In this case, the story, for instance, is the thing that gets told. The action goes to it from the verb tells. Further, sometimes this action has a secondary effect. The action of the verb goes indirectly to something else. Thus, the word that names what gets that secondary effect is the indirect object. Notice in this example that the reader is who gets the story. Notice further the order these parts appear in: subject, verb, indirect object, direct object, SVIODO. This is the order for almost all English sentences. It's my belief that knowing what you now know about sentence structure will help you write sentences that more easily communicate with most readers, which is, of course, the goal when you do any writing. Also, as you'll soon see, this knowledge will help you work with clauses to make stronger, more informational, and more interesting sentences. As always, thank you for your time and attention.